Alright guys, so it's a few days after Christmas, and today I went out and opened a new bank account at my local credit union so I can close the one that I have at BB&T, who's now charging $10 a service fee for every month. The bank account I opened, they make you start a savings account, and I also chose to obviously start a free checking account. And the savings is pretty cool because that way, the whole reason I'm kind of doing this is to start putting away money to buy Canadian Maple Leaf silver coins, since they're the most pure silver. And you might be wondering why I'm getting into silver. Well, it's because as of late, I've been I guess teaching myself Economics 101, and I've been listening to a lot of economic analysts that have correctly predicted all these bubbles we've seen pop in our economy. You know, and this is due to the Federal Reserve, which Ron Paul talks about, and you know, the Federal Reserve, through the hand of our government, have artificially inflated so many areas of our lives. Not to mention, you know, making everything so much more expensive in the long run. You know, there are so many examples of this currently, like healthcare, tuition, you know, loans on school alone have gotten crazy, and you know, costly restrictions on businesses that send jobs overseas, and we've definitely seen it in the housing bubble. You know. And all this is happening because the Federal Reserve is constantly devaluing the dollar by giving out money with no interest to banks, you know, like BB&T, who are making money off that interest themselves, which isn't even worth the paper it's not printed on. You know, this is like lending out, you know, just this kind of lending just spells trouble when really, I mean, we were all taught and you know, grew up as kids to save money. And you know, spending savings on quality rather than quantity is what true stimulus is all about, you know, and that's what we need. So another reason is because I recently found out some shocking news about a financial derivatives broker called MF Global, and the name says it all. But even though they are global, don't think that doesn't mean anything, because they primarily deal with the United States Treasury securities. Some of the individuals I've been watching on YouTube who have practically been these economic prophets are talking about how MF Global has stolen their money. So when I heard about this, I obviously went and did some of my own research about the story, and I found that MF Global went bankrupt and customer accounts came up short. And the reason that this happened, and the reason they can't find all the money, is because they were hypothecating and re-hypothecating the money accounts, you know, the lending that they were doing with these accounts. And I know you're wondering, believe me, I'm sure you're all wondering what those terms could even mean, hypothecating and re-hypothecating. What that means is well, pretty much, they were lending customers money in these accounts, and while they were lending the money that were in these accounts, they were making it okay for brokers after them to lend and lend again, and overall gambling with that money that were the customers' money. So you can see where you know, that can come up short, and why that might be pretty crazy. And the weirdest part of it is so if this is happening, and they were dealing with U.S. Treasury securities. You know, it's a crazy. They could be the first domino to fall in this crazy, corrupt economic scheme that is certainly going on within our country, and is bound to happen as more collateral is not paid back on this kind of bad lending. You know, and who knows who's doing it? Maybe Bank of America, maybe BB&T, maybe any of these crazy people taking money, and even within the government being corrupt, you know, and insider trading. And they show recently, if you're watching the news or if you're even paying attention, that these politicians and our standards of living are getting further and further and further away from each other. Like, we're becoming more poor and they're getting richer. And if you ask me, it's not a mystery anymore. You know, it's they don't have our best interests. And not only do they not have our best interest, but they're going beyond that and being corrupt about making themselves as rich as possible with, you know, all these crazy ways of knowing about the government and having all these different regulated departments, they have insider information that can be really, volatile in the market. You can imagine, and especially like in the stock market, which, by the way, is another bubble, and is probably already popped and will pop again, and the dollar is the biggest one of them all, because we just keep having the Federal Reserve print more money over and over again. The answer to our economic crisis, in their opinion, is to print more money. Just continue to print more money. And they're doing it with all these fancy little terms like quantitative easing and stimulus and TARP and any of these things. Like, the debt ceiling is what people are like trying to get under control in politics. And really, it's like the debt ceiling is already so high. There's already so much money out there. It's like they have to come up with funny names just to get it past us without us knowing. And if you hear it on the news, quantitative easing, you probably don't have a clue what that means. Just like nobody knows what that hypothecating and rehypothecating meant until MF Global falls and come up short on certain accounts. In fact, I heard apparently the people were going to be lucky to get back like half of what was supposed to be in their accounts. And that's if they're lucky. So, I mean, this MF Global could easily be the first domino in some wild, hugely built up, over 100 years with the Federal Reserve being in existence, creating money that's not backed by gold, which for centuries and for certain civilizations of all of man have considered to be monetary value. And paper, that money we circulate, and especially credit cards, just digital money, has nothing like that, no value to it. So it's just, especially the digital one, like ones and zeros, when did that begin to mean anything, in the monetary system? So you can see I'm passionate about sharing this information with you, because we need to change our system, and we need to stand up by taking small steps of transferring your money out of these big corporation banks and putting it into community-oriented credit unions. And we need to start collecting silver and gold if you can. I know it's expensive for some of us, but silver is an awesome way to start, and that's what I'm doing. And I would urge you to do the same. And, I'll have to say it at this point, Ron Paul is the only one that understands like this kind of information, and is the only one that's even talking about solutions that can fix this kind of problem. You don't hear anything like that from a Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney's flip-flopped so many times and hasn't said anything beyond the rhetoric of politics. Like, if you vote for him, what are you voting for? You're throwing it away practically, because you're not even wanting to care about any of it. So look into Ron Paul a little more and start to open your mind and awaken to the ideas of change. We are the change that we want to see, So, like, if you want to see a change, you have to be that change. And personally, I'm starting to be that change for myself. And like I said, I'm passionate about it and urge you to do the same.